share the motivation, share the way how we as artists who are having normally a lot to do, surviving that and doing all of that. So now it's 7 p.m. and we can slowly start. I will just explain to our public that this is the second HarpDialogue, and today with us is Jana Boušková, and you know, in chat there is the question in Russian that if I was studying with Jana, and yes, I especially came for 1 month with my mother to Prague and was staying there for the lessons, and we were meeting or at home or in the conservatory, and that was, I mean, outstanding. It gave me so much of great experience, which I use also till now. So actually that's the main purpose why we now talk. So thank you Jana for coming.
Thank you very much, and I say hello to everybody. Of course, these days when you were here are very clear in my memory and really wonderful. And even my whole family, not the children, which has not been still here on the earth, but my family, like my parents and my ex-husband, they all remembers you as really the genius child who came to Prague. So it was a wonderful time at the time.
Thank you. Talking about the family, I know that you took everything. So basically, she was your mother, your teacher, Lyubusha Vahalova, if I pronounce it right, because I remember I have even the not even the CD, but a cassette with the music recorded by her. So the first question I wanted to ask you is to tell about your mother, because for our generation, it's very important.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. True. I mean, of course, this is always a very sad moment when you know that the person who is very close to you and it's really the not replacing person in your life, which is your mother, left us, and actually unexpected as well, which is even more sad news, because you have not been prepared. I mean, you are never prepared for such a thing in your life. But at that moment, of course, it was very sad. And yesterday she was supposed to have birthday, so in my memory she's all the time. But of course, yesterday it was even more stronger. And my mom was really one of the main harpists from Czech Republic, I mean Czechoslovakia at that time as well, who just fall in love when she was about 4 years old with the harp, when she heard the instrument in the radio. And she said to my grandparents, who were very poor and they had no money, she said, like, this is the instrument I want to play. And my grandparents, they were just like, oh my God, she's just like crazy how we can do that. And she was so really strongly going for her goal, for this dream of her life, that of course she played piano. Her parents, my grandparents, were very much in the music, like loving music, but they were not musicians by themselves, but they just like loved very much the music. And so they were supported their children. My mother had 2 brothers, so they were supporting them to do the music like a hobby, and so they were playing many instruments. And then later on, when my mother was 15 years old, she really was so strong going for her wish that she started to play the harp. And she was studying at the Prague Conservatory, but she was not really very having a good connection with her teacher, because it was a very politic time. It was in the 50s, where it was really difficult after the Second World War. And because my mother was not really in the politics, the way which was here, the communists, she was absolutely against it, and she was just giving the posters against the communists. So she was really having a hard time, because her teacher was opposite. She was on the side of communism. So there was a very big fight between those two people, my mother and her teacher. So she was leaving the school afterwards, and she was having the private lessons with another teacher, Mr. Dobrodinsky, who was the principal harpist of the Czech Philharmonic. And so she was really studying mainly with the musicians around her. She was studying with really different players, like oboe player or flute players. And they were giving them her experience in the world, in the music world. So she was more or less taught by not harpists. Of course, the main basics she was taught by harpists, but then she was actually more taught by the really music world around her.
Her husband was the flutist Irji.
Yes, it's my father. Yeah. He's a flutist, and he was the part of the chamber music group Czech Nonet, which was part of the Czech Philharmonic Orchestra. So it was a very famous chamber ensemble in Prague as well. They played together. My mother was a teacher at the Prague Conservatory, and she really taught so many harpists. I mean, all the generation of my generation, she taught everybody. And yeah, she was really wonderful harpist as well by herself, because she was doing the concert, she was soloist everywhere. It was very hard at the time. She was not able to travel as we have the chance now to travel. So for her to travel abroad was really not easy. But she was playing sometimes in Vienna, she was in Germany, she was playing around the Czech Republic, but in Russia she was also sometimes, and she knew personally Věra Dulova very well as well. So they were friends, and they were writing letters together that I know, that I found some of them. So it's really this kind of generation which were legend in the case of every country.
Yeah, so Lyubusha Vakhalova, she was born in 1932, so she started to play right after war in age of 15. Yeah, and she left us on the August the 1st last year. And so she was teaching in Prague, in Tokyo, in Warsaw, and in Ostrava. And you were studying with her, not in Prague, but in Ostrava. Why so?
Well, I would just only clarify this, because she was invited to teach in Tokyo. But finally, even the contract was already done, then she has not signed it because of due to the reason of family. Her father was very ill at the time, and she was really afraid that if she leaves, the contract was set that she cannot return for 5 years after that, because it was, at that time, it was the late 60s, you know. So can you imagine at the time to leave to Japan? It was something so expensive that to return for the school would be not possible. So they said that in the contract that she would need to stay there for 5 years before she returns to Prague again, or at least to Britain. So she was really thinking about what to do with it, because of course she would love to take this position, but at the same time she was afraid that if something happens with her parents, that she will not be able to be back to say hello to them and to say goodbye in case something really the worst comes. And so she finally did not sign the contract, and finally she was glad that she did it, because her father really died 1 year later. So it was meant to be like that. But she was teaching at the Prague Conservatory, and then she was teaching at the Ostrava, as you said, that I was studying with her in Ostrava. It was some kind of my story, because I was studying at the Prague Academy of Performing Arts, the university in Prague at the time. And when I won the competition in Israel, actually, I got the second prize in Israel. I came to the lesson of the teacher, and she requested me to play etudes at that moment. And I came from that Israel competition with knowledge that in 4 months I have to learn new program for USA international competition, and to learn in 4 months really for our program, it's not easy. And she just was she wanted to follow the rules of the school, that I have to play etudes at that moment. And I said, like, I'm just really sorry. I mean, does it really need to be also following, like, I do need to follow these rules in case I already won the second prize of Israel, and now I need really time for learning the new repertoire, not to spend time on something else. And then it came to the point that she said, if you cannot, if you don't want to follow the rules, just go. So I had to decide what to do at that moment, because this was the only school in our country which was supporting the harp as a university studies. And there was no other school which would allow me to finish my university. And then Ostrava University, who read this kind of story about this problem which has caused here in Prague, they offered that they will open the harp class for me, so that I can really finish the university studies. And they invited my mother if she can do the professor place there. And so she finished, I finished my studies at the university in Ostrava. Also another student, Bronislava Klablenová, was studying there with my mother, and she finishes that school as well. So that was the story.
They opened the class especially for you to let you finish that? Oh wow, that's amazing.
That was really, I'm very thankful to that school, because otherwise it would be, I would need to go abroad to finish my studies. Yeah, so it was, and of course, as I was already abroad for 1 year before, I wanted to stay here because I was already married, and so I wanted to be at home. But yeah, so this was really a big step of that school, and I'm very thankful.
That was already after the Bloomington, or?
It was, no, it was before.
It was before the Bloomington.
I mean, before the Bloomington happened, this story, but after Bloomington, I finished the school, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So there was these two competitions, Israel and Bloomington, and Bloomington twice, and also you were studying in Bloomington.
In Bloomington, it was in 92.
Yes.
And I was studying in 1990.
Uh-huh.
And in the school in Ostrava, I finished in 1998.
And beside Susan MacDonald and Lyubusha Vakhalova, who you consider also as your teachers?
I had only some master classes with Alice Giles before, when I was 17 years old. And that's actually all what I have ever went through. I've never had any lesson with anybody else. So, I mean, these three people they have been really my inspiration.
But you say that your mother was studying with Dobrashevsky.
Dobrodinsky. Yeah, he was the principal harpist of the Philharmonic.
Yes, and what you can say about this school? I mean, where the school in Czech Republic belongs? It's more German, or it's more French, or how it goes?
It's Czech. Yeah, it's a school which actually, it's a mixture of everything. And if you will go back to the history, the Czech school actually influenced some kind of technique all over the Europe, also Russian, also the south of Europe in Yugoslavia, and these countries. Many people from those countries studied in Prague before. So, and then they brought it back to their countries, and then it has developed as their technique as well. So actually, the Prague was really quite a strong harp school for many countries from the past already. So, but I think it's really the combination of everything. So it's not something what would be totally the same like Russian, and neither from France or American school, but I mean, there's really, you can see that there is a mixture of everything.
Well, we were just recently talking with Isabelle Perrin, that basically the school nowadays is not so important as it was before, when we were like learning particular schools, fighting with each other and not accepting different way of playing the harp. And now it's much easier. But I think like right now it's also very important to learn what we have in the past and in different countries, to combine that together. So you are spreading the word around, because you teach in Prague, in Brussels, and now in London. Yes, in three places.
True.
And even in 4, because in Brussels you teach in two places.
No, in Brussels I'm in one place, of course.
No, there is written that it's the Royal Conservatory of Brussels and Erasmus School.
Oh, it's
the
Royal Conservatory. It's English title, and the Erasmus Koninklijk Conservatorium is the Flemish title. So it's the same. It's just like two, because if you will say it in Flemish, not many people could understand it. So that's why it is said more in English and then like in a Flemish translation.
So how many students altogether that makes the 3 conservatories?
Oh, it's altogether, it's I would now say only the Brussels and Prague. Altogether, it's let's see. In Brussels, I have 11, and in Prague, I have now 7. So it's 18 people. 18 people, and in London, I'm still sharing the students. So it's not really only my students. So I'm just like doing. There is many students at the moment. I think it's about 8 students. So there is always sharing time for those students.
So wow, that you spend now all the time on Skype teaching online.
True, but I must tell honestly, I really enjoy it, and I believe that the students share with my opinion as well, because you really, it's the lessons are so beautiful. I mean, the hour goes so quickly away, and we go so much to the details, which it's really, I like this teaching very much on the Skype. And I must say that I have been always worried about how it could work, but when I tried it once, I said like, wow, I really like it. I really like it very much, because it's just like different, but it's really very, very interesting that how deep you can go for the details.
Do you feel like you can concentrate more being like not in the same room?
Absolutely. I mean, I really, of course, the problem is about the sound. You can't really very much check and to say really advices for the sound, because you hardly can know if it's because of the microphone or because of the place where the camera is, or you just don't know. But of course, about the details of the technique, of the fingerings on everything, you can really very much concentrate during this period of time when we have just the cameras and the online lessons.
Well, we didn't have that all in our childhood. You started to play when you was 5 or 6?
No, I was starting when I was 4 with the piano, but when I was 6, 7, I have no idea, because I don't remember, and nobody from the family remembers when I started. But probably I was 6 years or 7 years old when I started the harp.
And you already played your first concert when you was 7 years old?
I played when I was in the first year of school. I was playing already a concert for the teachers there. So that's the picture which I found. So that's why I knew that probably at that age I started to play the harp.
And it's a lot of inspiration. And because as I said before, I have this cassette at home named Magic Harp by Boušková. And when you were starting, it was already out, this cassette?
No, it is much later. Her really first CD, which was a recital, was the LP, you know, recording. So it was not this cassette. It came much later, this one. But her really first CD was where was Moldau and these really pieces, Ravel, Introduction and Allegro, and really the main Handel concerto. So the main repertoire pieces and the pieces which my mother played very often also. So it was. I think that it was in '82. This big plate of the recital.
Harp recital, yes. And then Magic Harp is with some of the popular music. So it's like, as I see, there is like One More Night, Nights in White Satin, and so on, so on, yeah?
Yes, she was asked to record this music. It was not her wish, but she was asked to do so. So she has said, okay, I will be happy to do it, because at that time when she recorded, it started to be very famous or very popular to play in the hotels. The harps were really in every hotel. So one of the company has asked her if she can record it so that they can save money, probably not to have the harpists in the restaurant, but to have the recording right away. So she said that she will do it for them.
So she was doing also the arrangements herself.
She did also arrangements. She was also the harpist of the film symphony orchestra. So she had kind of taste for kind of movie music as well. So she was really able to do many transcriptions. She did. When I was a child, I was playing as a duo with my mother and with my father, who is a flutist. So as I said already before, so we played a trio, which for 2 harps and flute, how many pieces you have originally. So she had to do all the arrangements for this combination. And then later on, we were also doing a quartet with the viola. So it was a flute, viola, and 2 harps. So this was absolutely unusual combination, which had to be, of course, transcribed by my mom. So we have many different pieces for this combination.
But did you play like this Crying in the Rain or Forever Young or Say You Say Me, all this pop arrangement?
No, I have never done that. Never. I mean, at that time when I was a child or when I was studying it, it has not been popular here. It was not able to be get because, of course, we were so closed, you know. So this kind of music was totally not prohibited, but it was forgotten. It was just taboo for the people. So we did not have time, even chance to have it. So there was nothing for the harp. I had heard for the first time the harp as a jazz when I was 16 years old at the World Harp Congress in Vienna. Mm-hmm. So I've never even known that it's possible to play the jazz on harp, and that there is possible to play something else than the classical repertoire on the harp. So it has not been absolutely able to get this music, and only when I was 16, we have finally at this Congress in Vienna, we have found some of the music, and my mother also brought some of them to Prague to be able for the other harpists to have it here.
But you was playing Boogie Woogie with the pianist.
Yeah, this was the only piece which actually my mother was playing also when she was little. I mean, I was little, but when she was playing the harp and I was little. So I remember that, and because this is the Belgian composer, and it's really not very known piece, but it has 4 movements, and it's really the style of the first, the beginning of the jazz of the 30s from this really classical jazz. So all the movements, there is blues, and there is this boogie woogie, and I don't remember exactly what the titles of the other movements, but I remember that my mother played it. It's really with the orchestra as well. It's orchestrated, and she has played it in Belgium also. So it has been very popular at the time when she was performing. So that's why I knew about this piece, but it hasn't been the only piece for the harp as a jazz. But it was not the real jazz, which was at that moment late 20th century, known already in other countries.
Well, so and after that, so now you don't have any modern repertoire like from that that kind
I personally, honestly, I don't, because I know there are so many wonderful players who know that and who knows how to play. You are also the example. You can do everything. You are really, you are fantastic also as a composer. So you are able to inspire everybody that there is possible to play whatever kind of style of the harp on the harp. So it's really a big compliment to you, because you can improvise, you can do everything. But I honestly, I know that I'm classical harpist. So if there is nothing written, I honestly, I can't improvise. That's not my, I'm not gifted like that. So that's something what other people can do.
Well, you're doing your own classical arrangements, and you work on your material a lot. And well, after recording more than 20 CDs, there is, I think, no limit in the repertoire. And here is like a question. So you recorded so many pieces, so much music, also from Czech Republic and around the world, and a lot of classical and Baroque. And there, so why? So, and all the time your goal was to make the harp as popular solo instrument, the same level as the piano, as the flute. And why do you think we still have this issue that even playing a lot of repertoire, we always say that we have not enough repertoire? And well, where you see now the harp on this way to the best?
Sasha, this is a good point. You know, the problem is that the harp is not very known by the people, because there is a magic circle. If there will be so many concerts for harpists as there is concerts for piano or for violinists, the people will have a chance to really hear the harp. They will start to understand, and they will not care if they hear composers which are not composing for other instruments, because they will know that it's belonging to the harp, and they will just know these composers because they will hear it very often. But as we have the limited repertoire, we do many transcriptions, that's very true, but the original pieces for the harp, there is not so many from the famous composers. And if some of the promoters want the harp, they said, like, we want to have really good composers so that the people go for the concert also because they want to hear the music of those composers. But there is a magic circle, because you want to let the people know that the unknown composers knew how to write for the harp maybe better than the good composers. And that's, I mean, good, the known composers. So it is very hard sometimes to get the people understand that the harp has its own repertoire also, which is beautiful, but just it's not very known. And if we can really make the harp be heard much more and the people understand it, then I mean, we have a chance to be really good solo instruments as you said, piano or violin, you know, because what I would also point maybe in the harp, which I was really thinking very much about it, why it is like that sometimes, that the people are looking at the harp like, yeah, we don't know if really it will be good. We have to put it in the small hall and maybe not so many people come. And, you know, sometimes this kind of, the promoters have never heard the harp. So they are just like thinking maybe it will be boring or something, because the view on the harp, it's so different. And honestly, so many people have different view on the harp. And unfortunately, I don't think that it is in any other instrument than only in ours. And it's not only by the people, but also, unfortunately, by the harpists. The view for the harp, how it should be, like, it's very different. Every harpist has a different opinion how the harp should sound like and how it should be like. And some harpists has the opinion that it should be an angel instrument and just to be playing only very slowly, very lightly, and just nothing so expressioning, because it should not be strong enough. It should be just mezzo piano all the time. And some harpists has absolutely opposite opinion, that it should be an instrument like which can have many colors and can really produce everything in the same style as the piano, you know. And sometimes this is really hard to combine, because if even in the harp world we have no same view as in violin, I'm sure that everybody has the same view, at least I believe, so that you know that they want to play really all the time the way which is played on the violin. But in case in our world, it's so different opinions also by players by itself. Then it's very difficult to still produce the harp in the way which maybe can be combined to the other instruments.
Why do you think it happens like this? Is it like a fear? So the harpists fear that if they put the higher level of expectations, they will need to prove it, and then it will be more difficult to keep the level, or why it's happening that we are stuck?
I think that it's every person is different. Yeah, every person is different. Everybody comes from the different basics, and I think that why? I think that mainly the competition between the people, it's very healthy. If there is someone who is really good and inspires you, you only grow. If there are people who has no chance to compete to these good people, and they complain that that's not good, they might have such a power that they really can put the harp down, because some people really don't understand it, and they might think that that's true what the other person says about the harp. So there is something what is really not easy, because of course the harp is really not easy instrument. I mean, and we all know it. All the harpists know that it's not easy, because it's, for the beginners, it's really painful for the fingers. It's not something what you can, if you really play correctly, as I say, that you really play, that you are not only just touching and just like lightly playing, but if you really play, it's not easy. So if someone is not willing to even go through this pain, then of course it's easy to play the way that it's just like easy, for everybody. So that's really a big, again, a magic circle, because of course the children, sometimes they don't want to have the pain. They don't want to go through the pain, because they are afraid that it will, maybe the teachers are afraid that it will hurt the child and that they will lose the students. So they don't want to let them to play really how it only helped them to play better. I'm maybe sometimes too strong, for this, because I feel that we have to really go through that. We all went through that. And we only know that it's very surprising for the others when they ask, how is it possible that you have sound? I mean, it is because you really work. The fingers has to go, the fingers has to have the muscles. It's like to go to fitness, and you have to also, it's also painful to go to fitness for the first time and don't work before. So it is a part of your work, and it's part of your actually really patient.
Making ballet is also very painful.
True.
So I hope that basically my recipe and my dream in this field is that maybe later the way you play, the way I play, wouldn't be extraordinary. It would be normal. And I always feel, because I was educated by the pianist, by my mother, so I was always, and I still feel that everything what I do is normal and it should be. And every time I do a new transcription and people tell me, oh my God, how you do it and whatsoever, I think like, no, it shouldn't be like this. It should be normal just to work like you do all your life, doing so much. There is one topic I wanted to ask you. Just before that, I wanted to say that people who are now on the Facebook, we don't see your comments right now, so you can join through the link here to this crowdcast. You can find that in description, so you can ask your questions, which we will just look after in the end. And
everybody, thank you for the messages and thank you to be with us.
Yeah, thank you so much. And there is one thing which is, I think, the most important. From the very beginning, you was first of all you was playing the piano, then you was playing in this trio and quartet with the flute and the harp and the viola, and then you was playing with outstanding musicians, with Rostropovich, with Vengerov, with Bashmet, with Payu. So can you tell what was the best experience in the work with other instruments, and what was for you the most important in your career, in your also mental and physical and everything in the movement?
All those people who you mentioned, they were just extraordinary, big, really experience in my life. I mean, this was a school for my life, musical school for entire life. I mean, really, any of the experience of cooperation with such musicians gives me thousands of years of learning. Only the thing to be with those people in person, you know, to see them as a human being, not only as a musician who you see on the stage, but you actually really find out that really those biggest names, they are the most lovely people. They are wonderful, absolutely human being, you know. With Rostropovich, of course, it was even, I was 28 years old at that time, and when he called me personally that he wants to play with me and to make the repertoire, I mean the premiere of the piece of Ravi Shankar, the sonata for cello and harp, in his festival in Evian in France, I was so shocked that such a name, such a legend, for me, an untouchable person, calls me and is on the phone. I was crying from the unbelievable dream that happened. And of course, later on, when I was invited also to perform with Maxim Vengerov, who is really a wonderful friend, and he's absolutely a wonderful person. I was having a big tour with him as a soloist in Europe, and when we were rehearsing, I was staying in his house in Israel with this family, and it was already when I got children, so I had there also my little boy who was only 4 months old, and the other one was 4 years old, so we were there all together. And you know, it has been absolutely an enriching time, because this is inspiration where you cooperate with those people. You don't need to talk during the playing. You feel it. You are so inspired by the energy which goes through, you know. And with any other musicians, as you mentioned, Emmanuel Payu as well. When we played also quartet with Marie-Pierre Langlamet, and with him and Mathieu Dufour as well. So it was a quartet for 2 flutes and 2 harps, and it was absolutely fantastic. You know, the people are just so natural musician that there is no need to write what you need to do. You feel it. And this is absolutely the best lesson for your life. You see that there is a way to play the music and really enjoy it without learning it. You feel it, and you just can share it together. So that was amazing.
And conductors, which was one most remarkable conductors in your life?
Well, there were quite a lot, but I would really mention that I appreciated and very much I'm thankful to the cooperation with Czech conductor Jiří Bělohlavek, who was really a person who, by himself and his words, and he was not shy to say it, he did not like the harp. But he said, like, if the harp, I will always want to have you. And he was really so lovely to tell me that he wanted me to be a soloist when he was conducting the harp solo. So he was inviting me to play the solo. And I was really always so honored that he thought about me and that he accepted also the cooperation for recording the 6 harp concertos by Jan Krumpholz, Jan Baptist Krumpholz, who it has came out in late 90s. These 2 CDs of 6 concertos which he has conducted. So the cooperation with him was really very unique for me because of these circumstances that I knew that he doesn't like the harp, but still he goes for it because he believes that it's possible, that it's really nice to instrument as well.
Wow, six concertos, that takes a lot of time. You say that sometimes, especially in your early ages, you was practicing like 10-12 hours a day. How you manage that? I mean,
you know what? For me, it seems to be absolutely normal. And the thing is that as we look at ourselves, we think that everybody is the same. And I'm sometimes surprised that they come some questions to me and I think, how is it possible that the other people don't feel the same as I do? And that makes me sometimes very surprising. For me, maybe that I am strange, because for me to practice so much when you are young seems to be absolutely normal. You have much more time than when you are older. And when you are young, the fingers works much quicker and much faster. Your brain is much fresh. So everything was, the speed of work was much bigger, even if I was younger, you know. So I honestly, even when I was 10 years old, 12 years old, I enjoyed so much practicing. I was maybe strange. I honestly say I am maybe strange in this way, but I really like it. And I was just like happy to come home. I put home clothes on me, you know, put the hair up and just put the tea first, then the coffee. And then I was just like playing and I said like, okay, it's now 2 o'clock in the afternoon and now I start. And I knew that I will practice until 8 o'clock, 6 hours at least at that time. And I knew that I have a rule. I had the time for making my day absolutely by schedule, you know. So I knew that there is rules for my time which I needed and I wanted to put for practicing as well.
But you think that everybody is just special and different way, so it doesn't need so much to practice. It just was your way. Did you find any kind of inspiration or method or ideas just easy which works for you and maybe will work for others?
Of course, there are people who don't need to practice so much, but what is then the result? I don't have time to practice too much. I know my limit. I know that I can learn everything very quickly, very quickly. If I would be saying I don't need to practice because I can learn it everything quickly. But the thing is that if you want that something last, you have to really practice. Even if you are the most talented person, you have to practice, because only like that you can really save it for the future. And honestly, if I would not have practiced so much when I was young and when I was a student, I would not be able to do what I'm doing now, because my fingers would not have the stable in the security as I work on it during my whole studies. So if the people are not giving too much time for practicing when they are young, and they have no patience. The patience is the most important thing in these days, because of course everything is much quicker. At my time, you are much younger than me, so you were already the generation when the computer and everything started. But in our time, there was no computer, there was no phones, there was nothing. It was everything like the old style, you know. So you write letters by hand, you were just calling at home, and that was all. And we had much more time because we had patience. We really know that everything needs time. I also, when I was studying, I knew that that was also what my mother taught every of the student. If you want to perform some of the piece, you have to learn it minimum 2 months before the performance. You have to know it. And then you have 2 months for getting the piece really ready. And that was always like my rule. I knew that there is a target. I have the concert in September. I knew that in July I have to know the piece. And then I can really be sure that in September it will be ready. Even I knew it already in July. But in these days, it is somehow, you know, very quick. They just think, oh, I have an exam maybe in 1 month. Do you think that I can learn Debussy dances in 1 month? You know, yeah, it is possible. You can learn it in 1 week. But the thing is how you will play it in 1 month. You know, the thing is, of course, there are people, of course, adults. We might be able to do it because we have already our way how to study and we know how to do it. But for the students, it's not as it is, you know, for the adults who has already the experience. And because the students have the experiences now to listen to YouTubes. They see all the results. They see the wonderful performances of many people. And then they want to play it immediately like that. They come for the lessons and they want to play it fast, immediately fast. They have no idea about the rhythm, exact rhythm. They have no idea about technique because it is just not clear. But they don't know how much work is behind if they want to play like that. You know, there is so many things which is we had not had this chance to listen to the people. We just worked and we just hoped that we will play well, and we were never having an ability to listen. We had only some of the cassettes or something like that, but not able to listen on YouTube immediately what we wanted to play. So we had to really work from the beginning and to the end. And I know my students who I say hello, if there are some, they know that I'm always telling, please don't play fast. Don't play fast until the finger says it is. The finger says it's correct. You can, because you also know you play something and it goes, you played fast, you think you played fast, but then you played maybe 1 year and you compare the two recordings and say, oh, it is much faster than I played it last year, but I saw that in the last year I already played it fast enough, you know. And the fingers just has the abilities to go to the tempo by itself. So unless the fingers are ready to play, they should not be pushed, they should not be forced to do so, because then there will be no safe and no security in the technique. And that's patient, it's really missing in these days. It's maybe done because there is so many things to do. The people have so many activities, they have so many things really to arrange, so they have no time for the patient. But I think that if you make some discipline of your life, there is a chance to, even in these days, to make the patient, and just to know that maybe I will not learn 2 pages today, I will just learn 1 page, but I will really learn it by details, by every note, to know what you do, what finger you go, that you really connected it, that you know, you have the ideas of everything what will be based, like a house. You just put the house together and then it's really ready. You put the roof, you make the color of the house, and then it's stable. If you put everything quicker, then it will not be corrected and it will be falling down very, very soon. So that is my view of work, and I always wish really that the students has this patience. Sometimes it's not easy because everybody wants, not everybody, really not everybody, but many people want to have everything very quickly, very fast, and that's not the way how I was taught and how I learned the harp.
But don't you think that is exactly the part of our previous conversation, that this angelic side of the harp gives people a possibility to feel already a beauty too early? And this is not only about the modern people, because everywhere in every academy, music conservatory, when I see the harpist and pianist or violinist, I see different picture. I mean, I know that a lot of my colleagues, they're working a lot, but if you see just the statistic, I see that the pianist, they take the Beethoven sonata and they come to the next lesson when everything is learned by memory, everything works very well. They work 8 hours, 10 hours, but they prepare because they have so much responsibility. And then from the moment the piece is learned by memory and technically perfect, there starts the work with the teacher. They go through the ideas of time, of different interpretations, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of students, you know that very well, they come with sight reading on the lesson. And is it, I mean, do you think it's like a part of our just bad habits, bad traditions, which we still keep, or it's something else? Why?
Mainly, if something like that happened, which has certainly not happened to you, neither me, I would never be able to come to the lesson without being prepared and without knowing the piece. And
it was happening to me a long time ago, 15 years ago. But I was reading always very good from sight reading. So maybe 2 or 3 times I came to Catherine Michel with just sight reading from the text.
Yes, but of course, in your case, you are very, very special, you know, in the way you are such a talent that there is no doubt about this. But there are also people who, unfortunately, they think that they will just come to the lesson and that the teacher will teach them everything and on the lesson. Yes, we can give very many advices. We can do what we can do, the maximum we can do, but the main work, then it's from these advices we gave them at the lesson, for them the rule to practice at home and to really follow what the teacher says. But the thing is that sometimes it's a way of the basics, how they were grown up, how they were used to work on the harp or any other instrument from the childhood, when they had many different teachers who maybe did not thought if the people will do it really professionally. So they took it very easy with the preparation, and they were not strong enough to tell them, but next time, you know, you have to have this piece ready. So they were not used to work the way that they have to be tough to themselves. And I think that in this case, when the students are getting older and when they are getting like adult or, and study really the universities, that I think that it's a matter of respect to the teacher as well. You know, if they know that actually it's time of the teacher to give them advices, but if they have to learn and say, oh no, you play here different note, oh no, you have here something different, do you know that you play different rhythm? Of course, this is something what the teacher has to say and mention, but you have to know that the students know the piece by itself, and it's really not just reading in very, very slow tempo because they don't know it. You know, there is a question of if you know it and play it slowly, or if you don't know it and play it slowly. So that's the very different thing which you can really adjust. I play every piece which I play and practice very slowly, and I know how to play it fast, but I never practice fast. So this is exactly what I'm saying to my students. Even they know it well fast, and then start to play on the lesson, and the fingers are not playing fast enough good for me, because it's like empty fast. It's not really very clear fast, you know. I tell them play slower, and then they realize that they cannot play slower because they are not used to it. So this is what I only say, that I need to really know the people can play slow, because only like that they can grow to play it fast. The level of the piano and of the violin, it's maybe different because they are learned and already from the childhood differently. You know, I think that this is the main thing, because they are used to to be taught already from the childhood differently.
So the responsibility for the future of the harp as a solo instrument is not on the professors and not on the soloists, but on the teachers of the primary schools.
The very first teachers are the most important. Really, from my experience, because if the students don't have a good teacher from the beginning and they have just someone who don't know by themselves even how to play the harp like correctly, how to put the hands on the harp, the students unfortunately have really problems through the whole life. They hardly can change it in the future. And that's the main thing, that it happens so often that the students have complications. They have pain in the hands, they have pain in the body, they have pain in, they cannot play, and they have still question, how is it possible that I cannot play? And you have to tell them that they have to just little change the hands. But if they are 20 years old, it's hard to change and they can't. So I honestly really always know that the main importance is to have a good teacher from the very beginning. And if really someone wants to do it professionally, because otherwise then it's really hard to change and it's not easy. So I really, all the teachers later on, of course, they give a lot, but it's only progress to make them really playing better like a professional. But the main thing is to put the hands to the harp and knowing how to put the hands and how to sit on next to the harp the correct way. Because it's sometimes very interesting, even like in our age, to find some people who, when I say, do you know how to sit next to the harp? And they are harpists already. They don't know. Well, just sit, like that. And that's it. I will just put the harp on my shoulder and that's it. And they have no exactly idea how to really explain to the child that there is a balance in the harp, that there is, that they have to find the real place for each person is different high. So each person has to sit different high also, so that they have the balance in the different way. And all of this has to be so equally said for everybody, that they don't make any of the body wrong sitting, because then they have a pain in the back. So all of this, but it needs to be known, and sometimes even these basics are not really clearly marked to the little children.
We are lucky, but that's a big question for the future. There is so much to improve and so much to do in this field, because really, my first teacher was Karina Maleeva, and she is also the teacher of Alisa Satikova and Marina Ganshina, who took now the third prize in Israel. And so she knows how to do that. She does that all her life. We're not working with the children. When last time you had like a really small children to teach?
I tell you one story, because I don't remember how I started. I really have no idea. I have no idea how it just came, because my mother I was with her all the time. I was like having fun playing games when I was little with the I don't know, little doll or something when she was practicing this. So I was always looking at her how she plays, and then I was just like trying to play the harp, and I have absolutely no idea. I don't know that my mother would ever tell me you have to put the hands like that. I just sit and I just started to play, and I know that at the time when I was starting to play the harp, I did not know the notation. I did not know. I was even in the piano, I was playing like that everybody is playing for me, and I was only copying. It was exactly with the harp playing. So I did not know if someone would put me the music in front, I would not be able to read it at all, because I had no idea about the notes. So my mother was always only just playing it for me, and I was sitting and I was playing it as well. So that was the way how I get my mother's hands, actually, because she was just like playing and I was sitting, and I just exactly what she did, I did the same. So she has never told me you have to put the finger like that, you have to put like this. So I I saw it, so I did it, and I have not even thought about that it has to be different or something like that. So when came one time a person who said like, I would like to start a harp, I just said, my God, I have absolutely no idea how to start. I have absolutely no idea. So I called to my mom at that time. I was like, Mom, please help me. I have no idea how to even say to the child how to put the hands on it. Because I said, like, I don't know if it starts directly with all 4 fingers or 1 finger or a second. So it was my big experience, which I learned only once, because I really said, like, I have no time for these little children. They have to have really very regular time for lessons and very often lessons. So I then gave it to one of my students who is teaching already at the schools for the little children. So I only said, like, I will always control if she puts everything correctly, so that she will have really correct hands. But the really, then I could not study with her. I mean, I could not, she could not study with me anymore. But this was really quite a funny experience of mine, because I was, at that moment, I was, I don't know, 35 years old already, and I have no idea how to start on the harp. I only know how to sit, and I knew everything I could explain, but how to start, which technique I should do, which finger to start first, or what, that I did not know. So now I know, but I have no time for these little children. But of course, I'm always happy when some of the people come and just from the beginning they want to have some advices if everything is okay, and this is very important for me, because of course, as soon as they come to the university and maybe they will come to my class if they are from my country, then it is something what I know that I will work with them, and then it is easier when I know that already the progress from the childhood is in the good way.
Well, hopefully now with this outbreak, we will have a little bit more time to put the things together, maybe prepare some recommendations for the beginners, for the teachers who are working with beginners, because that's really a big issue. And I have always example in front of my eyes, the best violin teacher. Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say the word best, but it's really so. The Zahar Bron, well, he was in a case lucky, because they sent him to teach in conservatory in Siberia, in Novosibirsk, and he came there to teach, and just immediately he got Vengerov and Repin as his students there, somewhere deep in Siberia. And now I see that he's 70 years old around, but he always, when he travels, he has this kind of little children, like 9, 10, 11 years old, traveling with him. Well, normally they're all from rich families, or there is some kind of funds helping them, but he's always traveling like a mother goose with this bunch of young violinists, and working with them every day in the hotel. He comes to the Tokyo, he goes to the hotel, he's teaching all the time. And probably we would need something like this as well for
That's very true, but honestly, I must say that it was in Russia, like this kind of style of really very concentrated work with the students, and it was and it is in our country as well. I mean, in this kind of east part of Europe, it has been very normal, you know. And it was for me, it is something what I think it's a really big gift. Even it is not easy for the children, because sometimes it seems that the children has no freedom, that they have no childhood, and that they have no time to enjoy life. But you know, if they like to play the instrument, if they really like to do it, as I really, for example, did it also, not by forcing, but by, I really love it. So why it would be said that it's not enjoying life? For them, it is enjoying the life. And then actually the result of their playing is something so special that the people are surprised how they can play so special, because they had no, maybe for them they had no childhood, but for those people who were so wonderful, finally they had wonderful childhood because they were with the instrument which they liked, and they just was having great time even when they were children. So it is by each person it is taken differently, because every person has different view of how the life should look like. And I think in this case, I personally don't say whoever does whatever, because I think that really this is so beautiful on every person, that everybody has the right to make their life the way how it is. So if someone wants more to enjoy, to have fun, to go to bars, and then they are surprised that the other one is better in their instruments, the other one has just given up those funny things, but they worked hard on the instrument. So they have to just compare how much time they gave for what they want to do. So it is, I think, by each person the way how they look for the future also, because what you do now, it will come back later.
Well, that's why your job is so important now, because first of all, which I am very thankful that you show with all your job and appearance in the social networks, which now you have 2 Facebooks, Instagram, YouTube, and you have wonderful dresses, so nice. I mean, you really show, and what it's our duty to show, that the harp is really luxury instrument which can bring you to a very beautiful world of music. And comparing to the ballet, young ballerinas, 7 years old, they are ready to work 7 hours a day, and with the blood all around their body, with the blisters, with everything, and they know exactly that they will have a difficult life, struggling, fighting with each other, ending up somewhere in Corps de Ballet and staying there for 15 years without even one solo role for all their career. But for that one solo role, they are ready to sacrifice their life. And I think that if we show to young generation that there is so much to achieve with the harp, what we are doing now, then they will have motivation to sacrifice their life as well. Well, sacrifice.
Enjoying. Everything what it's coming to the best costs something. So we have to count with it, and really people like you, and there are so many wonderful harpists in these years, so that really we can all together make the harp be the way how we all wish. And I mean, the thing which you have mentioned, that I have started during this quarantine, this page of the harp channel, I just came with it because I really saw that the way to say everybody how the harp is beautiful and how different wonderful harpists we have in the whole world, and that they don't need to search for them, but they will see the videos right away in one page, and they can, if I would put this way, compare and say like, well, this kind of playing I like better, this kind of playing I like better, and they can just like see what kind of actually is the taste of the harp, because they can just suddenly realize, actually, I didn't know that it's possible to be played like that, or this is a good idea how that person is playing this, so it's something what can bring really many things, and for not harpists can also bring the idea that you can play as you do now as this champions, for example, also the popular pieces which are known for everybody. So even for non-harpists, they can just suddenly say, oh, this is nice, because it's not played only amateur, but it's professionally played like you do. So this is something what the harp can play easy pieces, but it has to be really professionally played. It has to be either wonderfully musically, or it has to be perfectly technically, or it has to be something what the people who are not professional unfortunately cannot do, because they are not focusing so much on these things, So that's why there is professional school for harp, and that's why all the people who are doing the professional way of playing should be also professional how we want that it is. So I would like to really, when I said that this channel, I would love everybody to join, because it's really something what I wish. Honestly, it's a lot of work, but I do it really with love, with no compensation, absolutely nothing, because what I could do, nothing. It's really a lot of time. I'm just doing everything on the phone, not on the computer. So that's even more, because I don't know how to cut the videos on the computer. So I'm doing everything on the phone. So my eyes are also very tired from that, but I do it really with lots of love. So whoever has really nice videos, really professional and beautiful, don't hesitate to send it to me, or even better, post it directly to the Harp channel, and I can really approve that it will be posted there. So it will be the best for taking so much time for posting, and it will be really wonderful. And only, I don't know how much time we have, because I have not checked the timing, but as I said, that there is something very secret coming, maybe on the Monday. I would first of all apologize that it will not be this Monday, but it will be the Monday the week later, on the 27th of April. And I would like to really invite everybody, because I have big surprise for all of you. I have brought also that you will only see. Maybe you will remember, this is the third Congress from Vienna, which I have attended. It was in '87. I have the program, and I have also the recordings of it. And I have also the Congress of Paris from the 1990. And of course, I have my Congress, which I have done in 1999. So I have many compositions which are from those composers. And I would like to do, as we did today, interviews with those who I will choose from those programs, and I have the recordings from those actually 33 years old time, that they will explain also how they felt about those recordings, because there are people who are very famous at this time. They are really legend. There is recording of Marisa Robles. There is recording of Tatiana Tower, who is not living anymore, unfortunately, but I have all these fantastic harpist recordings, and I would love to share it with you, because it's a pity that you had no chance. You were still not alive, I think, that you were still, or you were a very little child, so you have not even known maybe about the harp yet. And there's so many people who had not had the chance to be with us at the time. So I would like to share it with you, so don't miss it, and I will let you know. But it's so much work that I said that I saw that I will make it until Monday, this Monday, but I would like to ask for patience for one more week, and then we can start to make this big event of the harp for the whole month.
I will post the link under this video, so everybody can join.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much, Sasha. And I thank you really for everything what you are doing. It's absolutely amazing. And we need so many harpists like you are, but you are so special that there is not possible. There is so many of you. So it's really, I thank you to everybody who likes the harp, who play the harp, and just please be happy that we do what we do. Because I think that we harpists has really the most beautiful instrument, and we have the most beautiful work we can do. So do it the best way and produce really the wonderful harp, like the best way how we can. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jana. And thank you, everybody. That was really amazing experience, and I learned so much and got a lot of inspiration and yeah, well, I'm doing just what I should do. And yeah, so we still have time. Jana will work on her channel and on that interviews. I will keep working on these interviews and also on the videos. So this is actually a good time to improve all the connections and to be together. Thank you so much for being with us. And
thank you so much. And I wish you all take care, be safe, and I really look forward to see you and next year in Cardiff. I hope that all of us will come to the World Harp Congress, and I wish you really mainly a lot of health and just stay safe. I love you. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.